Hey, this is Luke with Dad Life Chess. Just my first video here posted for our channel. Started this channel with my brother-in-law, and full confession, we were both recovering Bold and Blitz addicts on chess. So these are our longer games that we're going to be recording and hopefully trying to learn a little bit more and slow down. Some of you are probably thinking that 10-minute games are not very long, but it's a step in the right direction. So we're going to start there. It's actually only my probably 15th or 20th game on chess.com playing 10-minute games just recently. Almost all the games that I have are Bold and Blitz. So this is going to be helpful for me for sure to slow down and maybe try to learn a little bit more. So let's jump in here on the 10-minute pool and see what we can get for a game here on chess.com. All right. My opponent opens with knight f3. Yeah, so we've kind of transposed into a semi-Slav here, exchange. And I just recently started playing the semi-Slav, and you're going to notice here that my knowledge of theory is going to run out very quickly. I don't think there's a problem yet here. So yeah, I know here with this bishop, obviously they're angling for something here. Actually, if I remember from the theory correctly, it's actually not a problem yet. No, it's not a problem if your knight's still on b8, because you can play this really interesting move here to defend it. But since I've already committed my knight to c6, which might even be a mistake, I think I have to play here just to keep this knight out. I think it gets really awkward if I don't defend against that soon. So, all right, I want to get my bishop outside of the pawn chain here, which is normally a good idea in any opening. That does give this square to his knight, which is always the case, but yeah, I don't think it's an issue here. So I'll take back if he wants to trade dark squared bishops. When I played my first 10-minute game on chess.com just a couple weeks ago, I was at 400 rating. So, and it was like wide swings for losses and wins. So I've played a few games just to kind of get a rating that's somewhat accurate. But I've noticed in those few games that I've played that it is really difficult for me to talk and also make moves quickly. So even though I'm used to playing Bold and Blitz, these games where I'm doing commentary while I'm playing, it really slows me down. And I almost always have had time trouble. So I want to try to avoid that in this game. And yeah, so now that I've had a chance to play my rook here, I think now I'm prepared to take with the rook. If he wants to, oh, sorry, don't pre-move that. If he does take with his rook, I think I would take with if he takes with his knight, excuse me, I would take back with the rook. But it looks like that's not what's going on here. So let's see. Can I go here? No, I need to stay defending this. Okay. A lot of times you want to go here to go after this bishop, but I can't do that because he has his bishop and queen there. Interesting. I think I've played this wrong somehow already. So I need to connect my rooks. I think I want to play here. Eventually, after trades and a lot of D pawn openings for white, I know that a break here or here on either c5 or e5 is what you're hoping for. And so that's what you'd hope for, even if it's an exchange here with this pawn. I just know that there are times where it just becomes a backwards pawn and you can't trade it off if you don't have okay, so this obviously is telegraphing this move as an option. As it stands, takes. I'm fine now, but could be a point where that's an issue. So let me think through my options here. I want to give a spot for my bishop to retreat to. Oh, wow. Okay. This doesn't seem like it should work, but it does look scary. Okay, I need to think about this for a second. Obvious would be if I retreat, pawn push, takes, and that pin gets really awkward. He does lose a pawn there though. If he does take back, I'm on this twice. So it's a lot of arrows, but I think it's probably the best move. So if he pushes, takes. Yeah, and there's a pin here on this rook, which is awkward, but I think it's not too much of a danger yet because I am going to win this because I'm on this twice. So let's see what he does. Other options might be if he doesn't push that now, do I play pawn g5? Yeah. Okay. What other options do I have here? Take. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm trying not to get down too far on time. I'm not sure this is best. I'll have to look at this later. But I'm on this twice, and then I'm also on this pawn on h4. So I think one way or another, I'm getting a pawn back. Wow, just going right for it, huh? All right, takes. Huh. Can I push? I feel like I want to try to keep it closed, but the thing is I can't defend with this pawn because then this bishop becomes awful. So the only thing that's saving me right now is that he can't play this next because that pawn would be falling, even if I tried to defend with my bishop. Okay, this I actually think is better for me. So takes. I don't think he wants to take with his bishop, but I guess he can. Yeah, this is better. I got my pawn back. I'm really surprised by that. I did not expect. Okay, let me stop for a second. So here it gets kicked with one move and really no threats. Here I'm at least on a couple pawns that are currently defended, and then I'm also attacking here. So I feel like getting my queen out here is a good move. Again, I'm on h4, which probably should be defended. Okay, that square for my knight just looks amazing. Plus it also defends h5, which the queen is currently on. I could look at some other moves here, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure that needs to be played. The other pawn breaks don't really worry me now that his bishops are gone. The bishops were scary down here around my king, but this knight's far out of play. You know, if he pushes here, I'll just take, takes back with his queen. Huh. All right, so if I take this pawn, what's the problem here? Takes the pawn, I'm actually threatening mate. I guess he can block with his rook. Can I take here at that point? No, because he could just take back. Huh. Okay, so either way, it's got to be a pawn. I don't think I get trapped here because he can't play here, which is probably where you'd want to play to get the pawn back. because again, if he does, that's mate. All right, so it's just a pawn. Let's retreat this here. Just look and see if there's any better moves. This is really scary now to have this second rank open with my knight here. It's like an ideal spot for it. So I think I'm just going to retreat. I'm actually on this pawn now, and it's pinned. I mean, obviously, if he takes, I'll take back with the rook. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a move. I'm going to go after this pawn. What are my other options? So takes, just gives it the file for nothing. Can I attack this pawn with any other threat? No. This does nothing if I take my queen here. Okay, need to play faster, down on time. Play a5, go after this pawn. Wow. Okay, takes back. I don't think that's an issue, and that's just another pawn, right? I mean, obviously I do have to take here. Because I couldn't take with my rook because that hangs my other rook. Maybe he was thinking that was the issue. Maybe he was expecting me to take with the rook, in which case I'm hanging my other rook. I'm guilty of those one move. Okay, I need to exchange some pieces here. Takes. I should have slowed down on that last move because that was definitely a dangerous sequence. I should have known what was going to happen there. Let's see. Huh. So he's got to take this, yeah, obviously. All right. Down on time again. Too much talking. Okay. So he's on this. Obviously can't get it back now. Yeah, there was a sequence there that required more of my attention. So what I'm trying to do is get my queen into here. Attack this pawn. And just hope that I can mate him before he... Huh. I think he played into that a little bit because if I'm on his rook, he's going to want to take, which I get, but I think this pawn is dangerous to lose. I don't see a way to even... So here, I can just take this pawn and defend my own, or I mean, sorry, not defend it because he can take, but okay. All right, so what does he do? Takes with the queen. I have to take back. I don't think I'm losing there, though. I mean, obviously I have the two pawns here, so I'm guessing, just given how he's played with his pawns really aggressively over here, I expect he's going to take with his rook. Huh, I'm noticing now that I have, if he does take, yeah, if he does take, I think I could have taken with my rook here and then forked those two pieces. So I don't think this is good for him. Okay. What's the threat here? What am I missing? Okay, let's go here. You got to get the queen back, right? You can't just leave that there. He can't take with his rook now because he loses his knight. So I'm guessing he's got to take with his knight. Yeah. Really got to work on my time management. Okay. So let's defend. Huh. Yeah, let's defend that pawn. If he brings his rook in here, yeah, probably should have seen that coming. I'm losing my b7 pawn. Wow. I'm not seeing these moves, and I definitely should be. Okay. Here guards the pawn. My plan is just to march in here and then threaten some back rank stuff. Yeah. You can't push this pawn yet because his knight would be hanging. Interesting. Okay, time. Do I defend? I think I need to. Defend that pawn. Ah, I'm losing another pawn. What am I doing? This is an ugly game. Okay. Takes that pawn. Don't take that pawn. All right, if he goes here, can I defend this way? I think I can. Have that extra pawn. Yeah. I'm not positive that I can win this. All right, so this pawn looks like it's falling. Yeah. Huh. Did not play that well. Okay, and down to 22 seconds as well. Not enough time to play this. All right, yeah, you can't take. There's no way. Ah. That one pawn move difference was almost super dangerous. Okay. Huh. Wow. Is this really repetition? It is. Wow. That's super annoying. That's really frustrating. Really frustrating on this one for sure. Wow, I was up 4, -4. Okay, as painful as it is, I probably should just analyze this game. Here, before I do that, wow, I really was hoping my first game would be a win. You know, you want to get the first game on the channel as a win, but let's just be honest, they're not all wins. We've all experienced the pain of loss. So, all right, so without looking at the engine yet, let me just go through this really quick and think about where I want to check the analysis. All right, so, whoa. Okay, I think everything here is fine. This did get a little awkward on the queen side here. Yeah, with that pawn move. I was expecting this pawn push, and I did not even think about this pawn push. I can't imagine that's good for him. I feel like it was definitely not the right move, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's always scary when you see your opponent throwing pawns at you from, you know, where your queen is. So I took here, and I did that primarily because I expected to be able to go after that pawn, and I didn't see an easy way for him to defend it. I closed it off here, which I think was the right move. Taking just did not seem good. Oops, sorry about that. So yeah, I think this is having some computer issues, I think, with the speed. But yeah, I think right here, that was the right move to close that off. I was happy to trade those pieces because, again, I get that pawn back. And I have to believe at this point, and I know I already jumped over to the analysis out of frustration over losing that game. But yeah, at this point, I felt good. I felt like this was a winning position. I was winning at this point. And I did that to go after this pawn. But I missed that move. I feel like this is just bad. This is like the ideal place for my knight. So I think at this point, I still have to be winning. He gives up another pawn. I was not expecting this. And this is where I really should have thought this through. I took the pawn, and I did notice that I couldn't take with my rook. I mentioned this in the game because this is hanging with check. You know, so I just lose the piece. So I did notice that, but I didn't really think through the implications of taking with my king, just because this pawn is now weak for, you know, yeah, for the foreseeable future. And So I'm going to have to kind of babysit there. And I didn't think through that move either, which in retrospect, maybe backing up was not the best move. I was already a little short on time. So I thought, simplifying would be better. Maybe, it seems dangerous, but maybe pushing this pawn is better. Keeping it closed off, forcing that knight to move. Yikes. Knight goes, let's see, where would knight go? Actually, it could go here. Defended by its own pawn. And also on my rook. Yeah, I don't know if that's any better. I feel like taking, or backing up was the best option. I just didn't see that he didn't, he had the in-between move he could take with check. I'll check the computer. I'd be surprised to hear that I was losing even here. I feel like I'm still up, what is it, 2 pawns? Yeah, about to lose one, but I'm up 2 pawns. Yeah, and I think here, like I mentioned, I think he couldn't take with his rook. Why was it? I was looking at this during the game. Okay, yeah, if he takes with the rook, I think. What was I calculating? So here. Oh no, that's actually not working. So I'm glad that didn't happen. So I was thinking I could take here. Thinking that. I thought I had a move planned here, so let me think this through. He takes with the rook. What was I thinking? Yeah, actually I don't see the move here, so I think and that I didn't understand this move. I couldn't figure out what the maybe he was hoping that I would go here, and then when he takes here, he's on this pawn in an awkward way because now I can't get out. This knight is covering both of these squares. So if I try to retreat to h7, he takes the queen, and he threatens this pawn, and mate. But I'm noticing now that doesn't seem to be a problem because I can just defend here. I can play pawn g6 and cover that pawn. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what he was thinking, but yeah, I played here. He has to take with the knight. Otherwise, if he takes here, threatening this pawn, I take here, he loses the piece. So yeah, he had to take with his knight. I don't think that was probably accurate. At this point, it's going to get ugly. I know there's a lot of mistakes, but I want to look at this as painful as it is because I think I'm winning here with the extra pawn, obviously. I'm sure I did not play this right. But I also think that here, when he traded, I think my mouse slip here, going to f4 instead of g4, I think it made my life difficult. And I want to check the engine. This is going to be so frustrating if it's true. But if that might even be a losing move. I'm really curious to see this. So like what I'm thinking is if I go here, let's just say here, 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 and now I'm able to block that king. But as it stands, let's see if I can get back to the game. It's not letting me get to the game, but I'll look at it in the analysis. I think because I made that mouse slip and went here, I meant to go to h4, but I went to f4. I think that actually allowed him to get back, and I may have still misplayed it, but we'll see. I'm curious to see if that's what made the difference. So let's pull up the analysis here. Again, as painful as it is, and let's take a look at what the computer has to teach me about my bad moves. All right. I gotta admit, I was almost tempted not to finish this video and not to upload it. Nobody wants to start the YouTube channel with a loss, but you know, it's not a loss. It's a draw. Okay, but it felt like a loss. So let's take a look through this and see what we can learn. All right, so this is all book moves. Yeah, even through here. Okay, so the first mistake was him playing a4. I don't know. I guess getting his knight in was what they're recommending. It doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. Still not a losing move or anything. Okay. Oh, wow. An accuracy here. So they keep, for like 3 moves in a row, they've been highlighting this move, the queen, to b6, just probably because of this weak pawn. And because that pawn is weak and because my bishop is on b1, it does make it a little awkward to defend. Again, not at all impossible, but it does make it awkward to defend. So that's probably why that was the best move. Okay, this is all fine. Yeah, so it's not the best move. Actually, it gave me a little bit more of an advantage, but those are the kind of moves in games that just are scary to deal with. So yeah, okay, so retreating was the right move. Again, a mistake. It did not feel like a mistake in the game, but that already puts me up, you know, -2, almost -3. Oh wow, yeah. So taking with the bishop was the best move. It's actually good to know. My instincts were right there. Okay, closing it off, also a good move. Yeah, I didn't feel like this was a great move at all for him. I felt like the attack fizzles. What I was worried about was him, you know, moving this bishop, let's say, yeah, even to g3, and then pushing this pawn, which with the queen bishop battery here would have made very awkward for me to defend this. I mean, I can't defend it by going here because I lose the piece if I try to take back. I not lose the piece, but I lose the pawn. And then if I, you know, defend this way, then this bishop is just awful. So I didn't expect that. I think it is better for me at this point. Yeah, you can see already -4. So letting me trade off that bishop was definitely not the right move. And now I get my pawn back. All right, so that's fine. Yeah, that square looked amazing. And now I'm at -6. Slightly winning position. Yeah, definitely probably should have won this game. Yikes, it is what it is. All right, so I have another pawn here. Oh, you know what? In the game, I didn't even recognize that this move was required in order to save me winning the 2 rooks. Huh. I was thinking of other moves that might be possible here. Well, actually, there is no other move. Yeah, and in addition to this being the only move the knight can go to, it also needs to defend this. So they're suggesting, computer suggesting I just take here and consolidate because I'm basically better. It's saying from everything that they're seeing in the computer. I didn't, I retreated. It's a mistake. Yeah, pretty big mistake. So instead of going, I paused here for a longer period of time in the game, and I just didn't have a plan on what kind of where to go next. So I'm curious. Queen b2. Huh. They're just saying threaten mate again. So what happens? Let's see. What happens if you block here? Wait, why is that a blunder? Sorry. Takes here. Rook c8. Huh. Yeah, you obviously can't defend here, so... Oh, and you can't defend here because my knight is on that square. Interesting. So, okay. I'm not sure my opponent would have seen that, but he would need to take here. yeah, I guess I'm up enough at this point that the trades benefit me. I'm up the pawn, 4 or 5, up 2 pawns. Interesting. So yeah, instead of, I should have played queen b2. This was apparently a mistake. Again, I was just trying to go after this pawn. It didn't really seem like a great plan because it's not hard to defend, but that's what I was thinking. That was the best move. That's a good find by my opponent. Yeah, even though this pawn's being threatened, this was the best move to take the pawn. Again, I had to take with my king. I mentioned this already. Wow, that's an inaccuracy. That seemed like a super dangerous move in the game and like a good one. Okay, so what's my response here? E5. Yeah, I looked at this, but okay. They're saying trade rooks first, but let's just say, yeah, knight f3. Knight f3. So why can't you go here? Queen a2. Wow, just that mate threat on h2 is a consistent problem for him. Interesting. So he has no time to take here because I'm threatening mate. Let's see, what's the best move here? Knight g5, check. Interesting. Better spot for the knight. Yeah, g8 would make sense. Knight f3. Okay. Oh, an earlier f3 for the knight makes sense now too because they're trying to provide some defense for the mate threat on h2. That's just a consistent problem. All right, so okay, that makes sense, I guess. Instead, I took, which was actually an inaccuracy, and that's the reason for that is obvious. That get that pawn with an attack on my king. Yeah, another inaccuracy. I mean, I'm still winning, but let's see. The computer's saying queen e8. Queen e8. Wait, that's what I played, right? I'm confused. Queen e8. It's an inaccuracy, but it's a recommended move. That's maybe I'm missing something here, but so a2 is still better, threatening mate. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So block b1 check. Ah, this file is now open. Interesting. So you lose a queen. Yeah, that would be unfortunate. Yeah, but one of the moves is queen e8. So it's interesting to me that by playing that, they mark it as an inaccuracy and it's like the second best move. But all right, well, at this point, that is a blunder. Wow, I should have paid attention to this. So this, again, this h2 is like a consistent problem. Probably just a reminder for me if I find a weak point in my opponent's position to just keep checking back with it because this really never went away. This was kind of the focal point of the entire game, this h2 square, which would have been mate, or mate in 2 in this case. Oh no, sorry, the f file is covered, so mate in 1. I just didn't see that. So what happens, like, is there a defense? There's got to be a defense here. Let's see. Oh, the defense is just to go back. You've got to cover it. Mate in 5. Wow. All right, let's stop for a second here without looking at the engine. Mate in 5. So I'm seeing we have a check here. And then if the rook covers, yeah, it's mate here. You can block, but I think that's mate here, right? Let's take a look. So here, yeah, actually the best move is not even to block with the rook. Queen E1. Yikes. That is ugly. G2. F2. Yeah, gotta take. Interesting. Yeah, so that was a really strong move. Queen B8 threatens mate in 5. So I missed that for sure. I was going after this pawn. Again, thinking about mate, but not realizing that there's other ways to get to it on that diagonal. All right. Mistake. And there is a blunder. They make it very subtle. All right. Oh. Yeah. That piece was not defended. Come to find out, it was actually a hanging piece. Wow. And if you remember on the video, when I made this move, I commented on the fact that I was attacking both this, and then just forgot about it the very next move, and forgot that this was hanging. Wow. You know, I just made a strategic decision. I felt like this pawn was more dangerous than the rook, you know, so just, maybe that's what it was. Yikes. All right. Yeah, I actually thought this was a problem. After I played it, I realized that his rook could get into the 7th rank, and I realized that that might be an issue. All right, so yeah, I thought I could defend here, but I didn't see that he had this move, which really just, yeah, covers everything. So instead of that, instead of playing knight e5, they're recommending that I just start pushing. So I did it too late. Yeah, but here's definitely winning. Okay, so without getting into too much details on the weeds, for getting into the weeds too much on the end game here, I am curious. Here. Yeah, that's definitely a blunder. Now, here's the moment of truth. I haven't looked at the analysis on the side here. If I play f4, does this become a draw? And again, I don't know my endgames well enough to know, but I have a feeling that my mouse slip going to f4 was a big problem. Let's see if I'm right. And there you have it. Wow. I mouse slip f4, and it goes from being -49. You play f4, and it's a draw. Wow. That is unbelievable. Yeah. He can get back in time. Just that one tempo is all it took. I thought I would still be able to get it, but I can't. Wow. That is heartbreaking. And this, again, was a total mouse slip. Obviously, there's no reason to play f4 here. I meant to play g4, going after the pawn as quickly as I could. And if I do play that g4, it's obviously winning. But because I played f4, it's a draw. Well, I don't even know how to summarize the the lessons from this painful game. Let's see. So the way that I would think to try to take away some positives from it, I think once I establish this knight on g4, I think just recognizing that these squares are tender for the rest of that game as long as this knight is here, and just kind of checking back again, kind of just checking back on that move. All of these moves are really built around, all these moves that he's making are all built around defending against that mate threat. And so, yeah, even here, they're recommending that I play b2, again, just because this is always going to be a threat, and it's the forcing moves around that mate were really key, and I just kind of lost sight of that. Yeah, I think here, this is just a tactical miss. I should have known this was fine. But again, it's built around that same idea. I was thinking that if I played here, his knight comes here attacking my rook, and I just didn't notice that my queen is always in position to threaten mate. It was actually more important for him to get back to f3. Yeah, and then, of course, this is just a miss. I mean, I wish I could say I was down on time, but I had 2.5 minutes, so there's really no excuse here. This is just a completely hanging piece that I did not see. Never pass up the rook for a pawn. Pawns are great, you know, take the pawns if they're free, but definitely take the rook if it's available to you. That's a lesson you might want to write down. I know you might forget it, you know, just in case, put down that lesson. Take the free rook, not the pawn, in the future. Yeah, and other than that, I actually feel like here, so here I knew I needed to protect the 7th rank, so that's a lesson, and that's what I've made a mistake on before. My brother-in-law Joel Rocky on this channel as well. I've lost some games to him, multiple games to him, because I haven't watched this 7th rank in the endgame or the 2nd rank, and his rook has gotten in there. So I should have known that. That was definitely a mistake. Once we got to here with that extra pawn, I knew it was winning. Yeah, I knew it was winning, and then here I knew he couldn't take there. So what happens if he doesn't take? Yeah, it's -3. I'm easily winning. Once he takes there, I knew that I was winning this. This game, this move right here is going to haunt me in my nightmares of chess. But the mouse slip f4, and there you have it. It goes from, watch it, -49 to zeros. -49 to zeros with an innocuous move like f4. So yeah, lesson there. I had 14 seconds left. I'm trying to cut myself a little slack on the end game, but I definitely should have not mouse slipped there, and I think that's winning. Even with 14 seconds, I think I can win that queen and win that game. So all right, well, that's kind of a painful one. At least it wasn't a loss, just a draw, but it's definitely a game I should have won. And yeah, a little longer video than probably will be normal, just because there was more to look at there. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.